Hello everyone, sorry I've been absent for a little while, been quite busy and well, I don't know, I'm just struggling to find the energy sometimes to do YouTube, but I am really excited. I've got a few things I want to talk about in some videos coming up. Today we are going to talk about the new Francesca Bianchi perfume, which is called Luxe Calme Volupte. So there is the card with the image that goes with it. And I was lucky enough to be sent the sample from Francesca, which I have here. Thank you, Francesca, so much for allowing me to try it. And I'm going to spray it on the wrist now. There we go. Now I've just been away for a couple of days and I wore this a couple of times just on one wrist because I didn't want to use up the whole sample. And I have worn it up here prior to that as well. So this is not a full review. I have not worn it enough for this to be considered a full review. It is just based on testing out the sample. And I know some people don't like people to review from samples. Well, if that's you, just click out now and go and I'm sure you'll find a written review somewhere. But whether it's from a sample or not, I don't know. So Luxe Calme Volupte has notes of bitter orange, green tangerine, galbanum, hyacinth, tropical fruits, ylang ylang, iris, benzoin, sandalwood, vetiver and opoponax. So opoponax is a sweet myrrh. So what do I get from this? Well, it is unmistakably Francesca Bianchi. As soon as you smell it, you will not think that it's, if you know Francesca Bianchi, you will know that this is her work. It is absolutely, has that, how do we describe it? So Francesca definitely has sensuality. She talks about sensuality a lot. I saw a live interview with her on Instagram a little while ago and sensuality came up a lot. And I think that's a really good word to describe all of her perfumes. And by sensuality, I think if we go a little deeper, I think what you get is sort of like a luxurious sumptuousness, a lot of texture and feeling, rich depth, but it's all very smooth and languid and gentle. So if you think about a sensual person, I, for example, would think of Nigella Lawson, someone who talks slowly and with meaning and who luxuriates in tastes and flavours. To me, that is sensuality. And there really is that with this perfume, as with all the others. So the first things I thought when I smelled it was there's something in here that reminds me of my beloved Tiger from Francesca. And I did say to her that it reminded me of that. And she said that she doesn't know quite what that might be. However, someone else had also said that to her. So bear that in mind if you know Tiger. It does feel like there's maybe just the way that some of her favourite materials work together have just created an accent that's in Tiger in this new perfume. So it has a rich and velvety, powdery, slightly sweet feel that feels almost like thick velvet curtains. Really rich, sumptuous, soft, very expensive velvet curtains. You do get some of the green nuance from the galbanum. I think we've got here we've got green tangerine. Maybe that lends it some greenery too. Galbanum is a resin that kind of smells green and powdery and dry at the same time. And I also think hyacinth, whilst it's a floral, has kind of a slightly aromatic green nuance to it as well, in the way that lavender can, if that makes sense. So I think all of those things do bring touches of greenness to it. But if I wanted to explain it, it's almost a bit grassy green, like there's a touch of freshness, like grass with morning dew. But you have this sumptuous, rich note that I spoke to you about, the fluffy velvet curtains, which is potentially the iris and the benzoin, and certainly the sweeter notes. So we do have, I'm sure I saw somewhere it mentioned an amber note. It doesn't say it in the actual notes, but to me this smells like it is slightly vanillic, and there's no vanilla listed, but benzoin can smell vanillic. Ambery notes have an amber note, or an amber accord would always have a vanilla in there with the other resins, and it does feel like there is an amber accord underneath it all that's rich and slightly sweet, definitely sort of, to me, leans in the vanillic direction. So it's very much a multifaceted perfume, because you have fresh greenery with this sumptuous rich sweetness and lots of powderiness. And I also noticed a bit of a marzipan like almond sweetness, almost like real marzipan, but kind of more powdery. Maybe take a block of marzipan and then dust it with some icing sugar, something like that. So I get an almond nuance. So there's nothing here that would particularly make me think that's going to smell like almond. There's no heliotrope mentioned, there's no almond, there's no almond blossom, there's no tonka. Tonka can smell a bit almondy, no tonka listed. But I feel like there is probably a material in here, maybe one of those, maybe not. My guess would be there might be a bit of heliotrope in here, just not listed, because I know that Francesca has used heliotrope in her other creations, and I have a feeling she likes it. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit in here, but I haven't asked specifically. So we've got tropical fruits and ylang ylang. I wouldn't necessarily pick out ylang. It's more of a general tropical flowery feel. But to me, if you said to me, smell that, tell me what flowers are in there, I would really struggle. So I think that the ylang ylang is in there, but it's not a massive note, certainly not obvious to me. When this dries down, the greenery, the different sort of green facets they stay quite a long time. You know, I haven't timed it, but you know, within sort of 2-3 hours, they might slowly gently fade away, and what I'm left with on my skin in the far dry down, so we're going past the 7-hour mark, into the 7-hour mark, into the 8, 9, 10 hours, and it is really long lasting. It just becomes this gorgeous powdery ambery accord to me. It just becomes this sweet vanillic powdery, sort of like iris and resins and vanilla. It is absolutely beautiful. I think if you like the more approachable Francesca Bianchi creations, so what I would say is Etruscan Water, Tiger, Sex and the Sea, Neroli, maybe the original Sex and the Sea as well. If you like those, then this is something that you should definitely look at trying. If you like the really animalic ones, the ones that have the real naughty, dirty animal notes, then, and if that's your preference, you might find this too easygoing for you. And this is supposed to be easygoing. It's based on two things. The Baudelaire poem that's called Invitation au Voyage, which I only just read yesterday for the first time. And go and Google it and you can read it. I'm not going to read it to you now, it's quite long. And it's also based on a painting by Henri Matisse. It's based on the Matisse painting called Luxe Calme Volupte as well. And that is a beautiful picture, which is totally up my street, because it's all the different colours. So if you look at this jumper epitomises my favourite colours, which is basically everything, and everything together, and particularly pastels. And this picture is really beautiful, so do go and have a look at the picture as well by Henri Matisse, and read the poem and sample the perfume if it sounds like it might be up your street. I definitely give it a double thumbs up. I think it's really, really nice. It's different enough from what Francesca already has that if you own everything, you could certainly own this and it not be redundant. But it's also very approachable and potentially something that you could try for the, you know, if you're about to embark on testing Francesca Bianchi perfumes, then I would say this is definitely in the easier to wear and easier to love category. It's not as challenging as some of the others. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the review. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video.